Listen quietly for a moment and set aside distraction, noise, and haste. There is a simple act, small and almost strange, yet it invites you to look deeper, not at the act itself, but at your awareness, your body, and the signals it offers you every day. When you hear the phrase, "put salt in your urine," your mind may react with confusion or curiosity. But pause. This is not truly about salt, nor about the urine. It is about attention. It is about observing what you usually ignore. The body speaks in subtle ways. It reveals imbalance through color, smell, and feeling. Yet most people rush through life, never stopping to notice. They eat without awareness, drink without reflection, and live without listening. Then one day they ask, "Why am I unwell?" The answer was always there, quietly waiting. Salt, in its essence, represents contrast. When added, it reveals differences more clearly. In the same way, mindful observation reveals truths that were always present. If you pause tonight and simply observe your body's signals without judgment, without fear, you begin a deeper relationship with yourself. Do not be misled into thinking that unusual actions alone bring wisdom. Wisdom comes from understanding. It comes from stillness. It comes from asking, what is my body telling me? What habits have I created? What am I ignoring? A restless mind seeks quick solutions, strange tricks, instant answers. But a calm mind watches, learns, and transforms. Instead of chasing the unusual, return to the simple. Drink clean water, eat with balance, rest with intention, and observe with clarity. Tonight, the real invitation is not to perform an act, but to awaken awareness. Sit in silence for a few minutes. Reflect on your day. Notice your breath. Notice your body. This is where true change begins. When awareness grows, confusion fades. When you understand yourself, you no longer need extreme methods. You move in harmony, not in reaction. So stop everything, not for salt, not for a ritual, but for awareness. In that stillness, you will find what you have been seeking all along. Pause and become aware. The message encourages stopping the rush of daily life to develop awareness of your body, thoughts, and inner state. In the endless movement of daily life, people rarely notice how deeply they are caught in a cycle of urgency. From the moment they wake up, they are ready to start their day. Their attention is pulled in many directions, tasks to complete, messages to answer, worries about the future, and regrets about the past. In this constant motion, the present moment quietly disappears. The invitation to pause is not a small suggestion, it is a powerful shift. When you stop even for a few minutes, you begin to see how restless the mind has become. Thoughts race without control, jumping from one concern to another, never settling. This restlessness creates tension not only in the mind, but also in the body. To become aware means to observe without trying to change anything at first. Sit quietly and notice your breath as it flows in and out. Feel the weight of your body, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the subtle sensations that are always there but often ignored. You may notice tightness in your shoulders, a heaviness in your chest, or a sense of fatigue you have been pushing aside. These are not problems to immediately fix, they are messages to understand. Awareness creates space between you and your reactions. Instead of being controlled by stress or discomfort, you begin to witness it. As this awareness deepens, clarity begins to arise. You start to recognize patterns, how certain habits affect your energy, how certain thoughts create unease, how rushing through life leaves you disconnected from yourself. This understanding cannot be forced, it grows naturally when you give yourself the gift of stillness. In that stillness, the mind gradually becomes calm, like water that settles after being disturbed. The practice of pausing is simple, yet many avoid it because it feels unfamiliar. But within that quiet moment lies the beginning of transformation. You do not need complex methods or extreme actions. You only need to stop, observe, and allow awareness to guide you. Over time, this awareness becomes a steady presence, helping you respond to life with balance instead of reacting with haste. And in that balance, you begin to live more fully, more consciously, and with a deeper sense of peace. The body speaks in subtle ways. Physical signals like changes in color, smell, or feeling are signs of internal balance or imbalance, which people often ignore. The body is constantly communicating, yet its language is quiet and often overlooked. Most people wait for loud signals, pain, illness, or extreme fatigue before they pay attention. But long before these appear, the body gives gentle hints. A slight change in energy, a shift in appetite, dryness, heaviness, restlessness, or even the way the body eliminates waste, all of these are subtle messages. They are not random, they reflect the inner state of balance or imbalance. When awareness is absent, these signals are ignored or misunderstood. A person may feel tired but continue to push harder, thinking effort alone will solve the problem. Another may notice discomfort but distract themselves instead of listening. Over time, this disconnection grows and the body must speak louder. What was once a whisper becomes a disturbance. Yet even then, many search for quick relief instead of understanding the cause. To truly listen to the body, one must approach it with patience and curiosity rather than fear. Observation without judgment is essential. When you notice a change, do not immediately label it as good or bad. Instead, ask gently, what might this be showing me? Perhaps your body is reacting to what you consume, how you rest, or the stress you carry in your mind. The connection between mind and body is deep when the mind is unsettled. The body often reflects that unrest. Even the smallest details can offer insight when observed with awareness. The color, clarity, and frequency of bodily functions can indicate hydration, nutrition, and internal balance. These are not things to obsess over, but they are not meaningless either. They are part of a larger conversation that your body is having with you every day. When you begin to notice these patterns, a quiet understanding develops. You no longer feel separate from your body. Instead, you feel connected, as if you are working together rather than against it. This connection naturally leads to better choices, not because you are forcing discipline, but because you understand what supports your well-being. In this way, the body becomes a guide rather than a burden. It teaches you when to slow down, when to nourish, and when to rest. By listening early and often, you reduce the need for drastic measures later. Awareness transforms small signals into valuable wisdom, allowing you to maintain balance before imbalance takes hold. Focus on meaning, not the action. The idea of using salt is symbolic. It highlights the importance of observation and understanding rather than blindly following unusual practices. The mind is often drawn toward the unusual. When it encounters something strange or unexpected, it becomes alert, curious, sometimes even excited. This attraction can be useful, but it can also mislead. When people hear about an uncommon act or a surprising method, they may believe that the power lies within the action itself. They begin to imitate without understanding, hoping for quick results. Yet imitation without insight is like following a path without knowing where it leads. The idea of focusing on a specific act is not meant to trap you in the act itself, but to draw your attention toward a deeper truth. The outer action is only a symbol. Its purpose is to interrupt your usual way of thinking and invite you to look more closely. If you remain attached only to the surface, you miss the meaning beneath it. It is like pointing at the moon. If you stare only at the finger, you never see the moon. True understanding comes when you shift your focus from what to do toward why it matters. When the mind asks the right questions, it begins to open. Why does the body change? What influences these changes? What habits create balance and which ones disturb it? These questions lead you inward, where observation becomes more important than action. Many people search for simple tricks because they want certainty and speed. The unknown makes them uncomfortable, so they cling to methods that promise immediate results. But lasting clarity does not come from shortcuts. It comes from steady awareness and thoughtful reflection. When you observe your life carefully, patterns reveal themselves. You begin to see cause and effect in your own experience. This shift from blind action to conscious understanding changes everything. You no longer depend on external instructions for every step. Instead, you develop an inner sense of guidance. When something feels out of balance, you notice it early. When something supports your well-being, you recognize it clearly. This awareness gives you the freedom to choose wisely rather than react impulsively. In the end, the value is not in performing a particular act, but in awakening a deeper level of perception. When perception becomes clear, even the simplest actions become meaningful. And when understanding grows, the need to chase unusual methods fades away, replaced by a calm confidence in your own awareness. Mindfulness over quick fixes. True well-being doesn't come from strange or instant solutions, but from calm observation, balanced habits, and thoughtful living. The mind that is restless is always searching. It looks for quick answers, instant relief, and simple solutions to complex conditions. When discomfort arises, it becomes impatient and wants it to disappear immediately. This impatience gives rise to a desire for shortcuts, methods that promise change without effort, results without understanding. Yet this way of seeking often leads to confusion, because what is gained quickly is rarely understood deeply. When the mind is calm, its approach is different. It does not rush toward the first solution it finds. Instead, it observes. It allows space between the problem and the response. In that space, clarity begins to form. You start to see that many issues are not sudden. They develop over time through repeated habits, thoughts, and choices. A restless mind overlooks this gradual process, but a calm mind notices it clearly. The habit of chasing quick fixes keeps a person moving in circles. One method is tried, then abandoned for another, and then another. Each new attempt brings a moment of hope, followed by disappointment when lasting change does not occur. This cycle continues because the focus remains on external solutions rather than internal understanding. Without awareness, even the best advice becomes ineffective. To step out of this cycle, one must slow down and turn inward. Instead of asking, what is the fastest way to fix this, ask, what is truly causing this? This shift in questioning changes the direction of your attention. You begin to examine your daily patterns, how you eat, how you sleep, how you respond to stress, and how you treat your body. These simple aspects hold more influence than any sudden remedy. A calm mind develops patience, and with patience comes wisdom. You begin to accept that real change takes time. It is not forced, it grows gradually through consistent awareness. Small adjustments made with understanding become powerful over time. They create a stable foundation rather than temporary relief. Awareness leads to true change. Real transformation begins when you sit in stillness. Reflect and listen to yourself, leading to clarity, harmony, and better choices. Real change does not arrive suddenly like a storm, it grows quietly, like a seed beneath the soil. Many people wait for a dramatic moment, something powerful that will transform everything at once. But transformation rarely works this way. It begins in small, almost invisible shifts, moments when you choose to observe instead of react, to listen instead of ignore, to understand instead of assume. When you sit in stillness even briefly, you create space for awareness to arise. In that space, you begin to notice the patterns that shape your life. You see how certain thoughts lead to tension, how certain habits drain your energy, and how unconscious actions keep repeating themselves. This seeing is the beginning of change. Without it, any effort to improve remains shallow because it is not rooted in understanding. Awareness acts like a light. It does not force anything to change, it simply reveals what is already there. And once something is clearly seen, it naturally begins to shift. A habit that was once automatic becomes noticeable. A reaction that once felt unavoidable now appears as a choice. This gentle realization gives you freedom, the freedom to respond differently, to act with intention rather than impulse. As awareness deepens, you begin to trust it. You no longer depend entirely on outside advice or sudden methods. Instead, you develop a quiet confidence in your own ability to sense what is right for your body and mind. This confidence is not loud or proud, it is steady and calm. It guides you toward balance without force. The process requires patience. There may be moments of discomfort, moments when you become aware of things you once ignored. But this discomfort is not harmful, it is part of awakening. It shows you where attention is needed. With time, these insights lead to gentle adjustments, better choices in how you live, eat, rest, and think. In this way, change becomes natural rather than forced. It is not something you chase, it is something that unfolds. And as it unfolds, you find yourself moving with greater clarity, greater balance, and a deeper sense of harmony within yourself.